Mr. Chairman, Mr. President, I'd like to take a moment and commend Senator Orrin Hatch. You know, I listened to the debate over this bill, not just today, but for the better part of 3 years as I've been a member of the Finance Committee. I've never heard a more dignified, deliberate, intelligent delivery on any subject than we all just heard from Orrin Hatch on the tax bill. Regardless of your politics, regardless of where you're from, it's good to know that America has dignified statesmen like Orrin Hatch. Take the tough issues, simplify them, get people to join hands, work together, and pass what's right for the American people. And I'm glad the American people are going to get to see that over the next couple of days. And I publicly want to thank Senator Hatch for all that he's done and all that I know he's done and watched him do during these last 3 years. In the 3 years on this committee, I've seen us, Republican and Democrat, committee and subcommittee alike, work on every facet of the tax code to try and synthesize changes down to doable amounts and doable jobs. I've seen everybody have input. I've seen everybody work together. Sure, we've had differences. Senator Hatch has always kept the mainstream there, kept his hand on the tiller, and saw to it that we never lost sight of doing what we need to do, which is reform our tax code. I want to commend Senator Hatch and Senator Enzi as well for the work he's done on the Budget Committee to get us to this point. And the unsung heroes that all of us know about, our staffs, that we could not do without. Jay Kozla and Mark Prater on the Finance Committee have been outstanding and have made this thing work, and I commend them for their work. On my staff, I could not have done what I've done without Amanda Maddox, Trey Kilpatrick, Monica McGuire, and Jay Schultzman, who've all worked hard to see to it that we made the right decisions for the right reasons for the people of Georgia. I'm very proud to be a part of this Senate today on what's going to prove to be a historic day in the future. There are a lot of naysayers saying this isn't going to work. There are a lot of people come up to you, ask questions today that have bad connotations to them. But I want to, for just a minute, talk about what I think this tax bill really means for the American people, for the folks that voted for me to come represent them, and for what's going to happen in the years ahead. I had a reporter stop me today on the floor, coming up to the floor. He said, Senator Isakson, where are you going to find the $1,478 billion that y'all are costing us by passing this tax cut? I said, well, first of all, we haven't lost the money. Second of all, that's a static score. And third of all, I would be willing to bet you we take in a lot more money because of a dynamic economy than we ever lose because of a single cut. There are some people whose thought process is tunnel vision. They can't see outside of blinders. They don't understand that tax policy drives economic decisions. There are companies who the last few years have been thinking about leaving America because of our tax rate, who are now deciding to stay because of the new change. Don't underestimate the power of the territorial tax change this makes for American business. A lot of CEOs who go to their annual stockholder meeting for C corporations in America have to go with a game plan to raise the return on their stock to continue to have people invest in their company. Unfortunately, the easiest way to raise the return on your stock today would be a domestic American company and move your headquarters out of the United States to Ireland or some other place that had a lower tax rate. You could put more money on the table for the stockholder, but it'd be bad for the country, bad for your company, and bad for the American people. Now that we have a territorial system that we're going to, there's an incentive to stay in America if you're located there and come to America if you're not. We're not going to have any more pharmaceutical companies buying donut makers in Canada to move their headquarters to get a lower tax rate. We're going to have a lot of new companies thinking about becoming donut makers and doing them right here in the United States because the tax system we have is fair and equitable for economic development and building growth. On the personal side, you really can't argue with doubling the standard exemption. You can't argue with increasing the child tax credit. You can't argue with simplifying the tax process itself and the filing of taxes. You can't argue with lowering rates, 7 different rate categories, all lowered. You can't really argue with all this because you know that's better for the American people in their pocketbook in the short run. But in the long run, it's better for them, their children, and their grandchildren in terms of employment. I have 8 grandchildren. My oldest just graduated from college. The youngest is 9. Over the years ahead, and I hope I got to see a lot of them, they're going to get jobs. They're going to go to work. They're going to raise their families, and they're going to produce. What we have done today is going to make it easier for them to find employment for their kids, opportunity to develop businesses, and peace of mind because they live in a country that's vibrant and true. So for those that want to ask, what are you going to do about the money that you're giving up? I don't deal with static scoring. I deal with dynamic scoring. No, when I ran a company for 25 years, I made investments where I knew I had a place to grow. I made business decisions where there was positive growth ahead if I made the right decision. This tax code, this change in the tax code, this opportunity that we have does all of those things. Do I know exactly what's going to happen? No. But I tell you, I'm willing to bet, and I have bet my vote already in committee and will later on tonight in the floor of the Senate. I will bet on the American people and the American worker and the American entrepreneur. I'll bet on them taking advantage of a tax code that's fair to them, gives them a chance to expand their personal opportunity. I'll make my bet on them if they're willing to move forward with a better tax code for all the country. I'll make my bet on them if they want to see to it their children and their grandchildren have the opportunity they have had as well. So, Chairman Hatch, thank you for what you've done the last 3 years to make this opportunity come about. The distinguished senator from Washington, unfortunately the senator we're losing from Alabama in the next few weeks, thank you for what you've put in this legislation. Thank you for what you've done looking out for your people. Did we make any mistakes? Maybe. But you never make mistakes when you're trying to do the right thing. You never make mistakes when you're trying to do the good things. You never make mistakes when you take a risk, because when you take a risk, at the end of that rainbow is a reward. In the case of risking lower taxes, the greater reward is more jobs, more opportunity, and a better America for our children and our grandchildren. Thank you, Senator Hatch, for your work and all that you've done to make America a better country, and in particular, give us the chance today to make our tax system fair for all the American people. God bless you. And I yield back.